So for the 9th day of class, we learned with the book called Middle Eastern Cultural Traditions, which is a little bit of an eggheady way of saying we learned about Judaism and Christianity. And in talking about these two religions, I think we have to start with the patriarch of these two religions, Abraham. So Abraham was the first of the Hebrew patriarchs, and he's a figure revered by the three monotheistic belief in one God religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So you can take these three religions and trace their roots to Abraham. Okay, so Abraham is the patriarch of Judaism and Christianity. Okay, so in Judaism there's an expression, l'chaim, to life. So the ancient Israelites believed that all humanity should follow one universal moral standard because all of humanity was created in the image of God. And from the Talmud, he who saves one life, it is as if he saves an entire universe, which shows this ethical system behind Judaism. Okay, and we discussed this in class. What do you think this means? We took some different meanings, but I think what you derive from this is that by us as human beings helping other human beings, doing good in the world, it's as if you save the entire universe. It's that important to do. Okay, and what we take away from Judaism is a bigger, broader historical concept, rule of law. People will come and go, the laws stay the same. And the second part of this concept is that everybody needs to follow the same laws. And in the form of the Ten Commandments, we see this. So with these Ten Commandments, and I know this is a public school, and I know this isn't, Sunday school or religious school, but when these Ten Commandments were decreed, it wasn't temporary. It wasn't for X amount of time. It was everybody needs to follow these laws. When people are long gone in dust, these laws remain. So from Judaism, it's reinforcement of this idea of rule of law. Another idea that came from the ancient Jewish faith is this idea of a Sanhedrin. Now, a Sanhedrin was the first checks and balances form of government that the world had ever produced. Obviously, here in America, we have our legislative branch making the laws, the executive branch enforcing the laws, the judicial branch interpreting the laws. And the ancient Israelites had the Sanhedrin, the same concept behind many governments today. Okay, so what is Judaism? And, yesterday we were talking about Buddhism and Hinduism, and it's always a mixed bag in terms of what people know. And a lot of people have misconceptions or, some have no conceptions. So this is what Judaism is. Judaism is a 4,000-year-old tradition with ideas about what it means to be human and how to make the world a holy place, according to Rabbi Kushner. It's a covenant relationship between God and the Hebrew people, this solemn bond between these people. It's a celebration and sanctification of life. It's a faith. It's a group of people. It's a way of life. Now, as a people, Jews are in diaspora. They have been removed from their homelands and dispersed throughout the whole world. And we'll learn in this class historically the reasons behind this diaspora. But wherever they traveled, they kept their culture, which is the definition of diaspora. And there's about 15 to 16 million in the worldwide population. And I've seen different numbers regarding that. However, it is safe to say, without question, all the statistics I've seen, it is the smallest in terms of population of the 5 world religions. Now, Judaism is united by a common heritage and divided in the way you go about doing things. So there's, like all of the religions, there's different denominations and sects. There's Orthodox, which would be maybe the most strict adherence to the religion. Around here, you see a lot of Orthodox communities in Southfield and Oak Park, and you see them walking on a Saturday morning. There's Reformed. Now, Reformed would be people you maybe not even are aware of are Jewish. There's no outward symbols. They may not follow dietary. They may even be Jewish in name only. And somewhere in between is the conservative movement, which is they're stricter in their practices than Reformed, but not as strict in their practices as Orthodox. Now, as a way of life, Judaism is based on 613 commandments found in the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. Also, the Talmud which for centuries people have commented on these 613 commandments and gave their take. So the way I look at it as a historian, the 613 commandments in the Torah would be the primary source, and the Talmud would be the secondary source, people's take on that. And they both have validity, okay? Primary and secondary sources are required to address history properly. And in these commandments, again, there's 613. What to eat, how to dress, how to pray, holy days, where to go to worship, how to interact with men and women, how to do business. I mean, 613 commandments, you can guess, pretty much every facet of life is covered, okay? So at the core, it's to sanctify life and bless it in every way, okay? So what are Jews really concerned about? Tikkun olam, repair this world. Be justice, be righteous through deed, not creed. And doing mitzvahs, doing good deeds for one another or toward other people, and get educated, work hard, and to live a righteous life, okay? Now, from Judaism grew Christianity, okay? Now, people knew more about Christianity than Judaism, considering the demographic of the school and where we live here. But just to let you know, if you don't know anything about it, early on in ancient Rome, there's a new religion, Christianity, in the land of Judea, okay, which is far away from Rome. Many different religions existed in Rome at that time. Now, at first, it was small, and it wasn't even noticed by the Roman leadership. And if you look at Judea, Judea is modern Israel, and I've had the wonderful opportunity to have gone to Israel. It's a life-changing trip, and I have been to the Sea of Galilee, and I have been to the Dead Sea, and I have seen the River Jordan, and a lot of these towns on here I was lucky enough to visit. Definitely a place you want to visit if you can in your life. Now, Christianity is founded by Jesus of Nazareth. He was born in 4 BC in the town of Bethlehem. He worshiped God. He followed Jewish laws, and at the age of 30 began to preach using parables, simple stories with moral lessons. And what I can take from this is that a story is oftentimes better than a lecture. Do as I say, not as I do. Granted, I'm lecturing to you right now, but Jesus used parables to share his message. Now, he had 12 disciples to spread his ideas. These people were called apostles, and some Jews in Jerusalem welcomed Jesus. Some of them felt very threatened, and the Roman authorities were aware of Jesus's clout with people, and they were concerned of revolt. So he became an enemy of the Romans, okay? To the point where Pontius Pilate, the Roman leader of the region, washed his hands of it and sentenced Jesus to the worst form of death I can think of, crucifixion. And according to the Gospels, he was betrayed by Judas, one of his disciples, and killed by crucifixion, this horrible, horrible way to die. And then Christians believe that he had risen from the dead, which is celebrated on Easter Sunday, and ascended into heaven. So that is the death of Jesus. Now, once he has died, it's this man, St. Paul, the Apostle Paul, who really spread the word of Jesus. And the people who followed Jesus were called Christians, to be Christ-like, to act like him. They preached the messages of Christianity throughout the Roman world. Several books of the Bible, if you are a churchgoer, say letters from Paul to the Thessalonians, letters from Paul to the Corinthians. So Paul is instrumental in spreading Christianity. It's safe to say, and I've asked clergy about this, was Paul the most influential in spreading Christianity? They said yes, okay, to kind of check myself. And then Peter established Christianity in Rome. On Peter, we build this rock, the first pope. So Christians become oppressed. Again, they're small, and they refuse to honor the emperor with sacrifices. They refuse to worship Roman gods, and they were used as scapegoats, and they were thrown in the Colosseum in Rome and killed publicly for public amusement. Now, the first Christians who died, I shouldn't say the first, but when you died for the cause of Christianity, you became called a martyr, people who suffered and died for their beliefs. However, despite them being very small, it did continue to spread. Now, this is when it got really big. So when the Emperor Constantine, the most powerful man in the world, from a battle, to make a long story short, he was about to go to a battle. He was outnumbered. He looked to the sky, hoping to see Apollo. He claimed that he saw a cross. and they win the battle against all odds, and he said it was because of Jesus. And he issued the Edict of Milan, a game-changing moment. I need you to know that, in AD 313, and allowed freedom of worship of all citizens of the Roman Empire. So Constantine, the Roman leader, became supportive of Christianity, which caused it to spread very, very quickly, to the point where Theodosius made Christianity the official religion of Rome. I have also been to Rome. I've been to Italy. Very, very Catholic nation. Still continues to be a very Christian nation. Now, in 1054, the church splits in two between Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox. So in 1054, they had debates in terms of idols and interpretation of the Bible. Now, this schism, almost 1,000 years long, is still in the world today. So Christianity split into an easy rule of history. You're stronger united than you are divided. And this is the first main game changer in the Christian story. Then we have, in October of 1517, Martin Luther, who breaks away from the Catholic Church with his 95 Theses. We're going to go into great detail later in class about this, causing Protestants, which is a third, I don't know what you want to call it, section of Christianity, and eventually the Anglican Church grows out of England, but it's fairly small. So in modern times, there are many sects, many denominations of Christianity. Okay, now major points as we leave Christianity. I've asked people this question who know more than me about the most important piece of scripture, and they say it's John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish but have everlasting life. This is the crux of Christian belief. God is viewed by Christians as a Trinity: Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, God in three parts. The birth of Jesus is celebrated on December 25th. His birth was to Mary, a virgin, and Joseph, born in the town of Bethlehem. 40 days before Easter, Christians engage in Lent, a time of reflection and fasting. And the day of Jesus' crucifixion is known as Good Friday, and Christians believe Jesus rose on the third day after his death, called Easter Sunday, the highest holiday in Christianity. And Christians have sacraments. These are major life events, and each denomination is a little bit different. Some have 2, some have 3, some have 7. But these are major rite of passage events. Now, this is the most important slide related to what I hope you learned today and what was in your book that you read. Judaism related to Christianity. Judaism came before Christianity. It's the foundation, but it's not part of it. Okay, they're not the same. Now, Jesus was Jewish. The apostles were Jewish. Christianity grew out of Judaism, but they are separated. They are not the same thing. Jews do not believe Jesus was the Messiah, which is the crux of Christian belief. No, they don't hate him. They don't say he was a bad man. They say he was a wise man. He was a good man, but he was not the Messiah. That's where they split off. Even the Old Testament and the New Testament. The New Testament is not followed by Jewish people. It's by Christian people. Okay, this is the time of Jesus and onward. Okay, now the Jewish people feel the Messiah will not be divine. He's going to be a political figure that restores peace to the earth. So that's the way they see it. And the way they view the afterlife is quite different. Jews aren't particularly concerned about the world to come. They're more about tikkun olam, this world, where Christians focus their energies toward the life after this life. Okay, so that's a lot. That's a long PowerPoint I threw at you, but hopefully after today's class and from your reading and from all of this, you understand how powerful these two religious traditions were and are in dictating our history. So thank you for watching.